AJ, I know we like to have fun here on GamesCast Live and talk about video games and all sorts of stuff. But I have a serious question to ask you, and it's only because I care.
Uh-oh.
Are you prepared for the Rapture?
What?
The Rapture. The Rapture's tomorrow. You didn't know? It's not on your Google Calendar? What? Bro,
No, I didn't mark that one down. Sorry.
Listen. Make sure you've got clean underwear. Because when we all float up to heaven, we want to make sure that we look as good as we can when we meet the Lord Almighty at the holy gates. It's happening.
I mean,
here we go.
If you're just going to start floating up to heaven, I'm pretty sure there's a 60% chance you're going to shit your pants on the way up there anyway. So,
bro, I am terrified of heights. the point of bringing this up is because if anybody, there's no way I'm getting in. So if there's anybody out there who has pets that need taken care of, right? You're gone and you need your cat or your dog taken care of, just hit me up. I'll go adopt your pets as my own and take care of them after you're gone. After the holier than thou have holier than risen, I will take care of your pets. And I think that's an excellent way to start the show. You ready to go?
Amen.
Let's go. This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Eyes Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live on video.
Unedited, obviously.
Yeah, well, listen. There's always plenty of things I would like to edit out, but I don't.
Me too.
I'd rather get canceled than to be bothered editing out offensive material. Okay, so bring it on. Clip out stuff that makes no sense out of context.
You are so lazy.
I am. We also put this thing up on podcast services of your choice. I've been getting better at that. Been getting into the routine, so it's usually day and date within a couple hours of this thing airing. My name is Bryan Paul from this channel right here without Parole. That's Tornado up there, and this guy over here to my left, your right, it's AJ from the Underground. PSVR not going to heaven. Underground.
Definitely going to heaven. What is up, Bryan? Despite being your friend. What is up,
Despite
Bryan?
all evidence to the contrary.
Oh, man. What is up, Game Cats? It has been 2 weeks, pretty much, since I've done a normal show here. It's been a while, and yeah, I was trying to say something else as I was saying it.
Say something
But yeah,
else.
man, I have missed you guys. I have missed you a lot. I hope we've all been well and been doing well. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, we had the show Apocalypse where Discord had a global outage, and then last week I've just been dealing with some personal matters. Still am, but I'm here today to get back on track. Things are slowly getting taken care of one by one. And I'm ready, man. I'm ready to talk about some PSVR2, some good stuff. I've been playing a little bit. I've been very, very busy with some, like I said, lifey life stuff. But I played Surviving Mars Pioneer, did a first impressions live stream that was super fun. I've definitely been enjoying that, and I haven't even gotten to like the best bits of the game yet, and I'm already enjoying it a lot, despite unintuitive controls. And then the other thing I've been just absolutely playing, man, let me tell you, if, you know, life can get you down sometimes. It happens. We're all human. It's normal. But let me tell you, there is a very nice cure for that if that should happen to you. And that is put on the VR headset, get your racing rig, throw on Spotify, and just go driving like crazy in Gran Turismo
Galaxy
7.
Kart.
And that is some of the best therapy I think I have. You couldn't pay for therapy that good. Like from a professional anyways. That is one of the most therapeutic, fun things ever. Just blast some music, some tunes, get immersed in that game. Gran Turismo 7, man. It's crazy. It's like, I swear, when you get into those like top 5, top 10 tier of PSVR 2 games, it's like the best one is just whatever you've played last, basically. Like whatever one you've played last is the number one game, because it's so hard, man. They're so different, and just going back to Gran Turismo a lot lately has just been like, wow, like this is another, like No Man's Sky. This is another one of those like forever games. You can just play it forever, and if you get bored of it, you just take a break, you come back, and it's gonna blow your mind again when you come back. It's incredible, man. And all the updates they've done to it are really nice too.
Yeah, what a good time to be a PSVR2 gamer. After Friday's show, Miles and I, a 4-hour show talking about walkabout golf courses. You would think by the end of 4 hours would be like, we're sick and tired of walkabout. But Saturday morning, I get a text from Miles being like, hey, you want to jump into walkabout? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely fucking do. And we played 3 hours of walkabout, sort of just kind of like going through all the courses that were a little bit divisive for us, trying to figure out, were we right? Were we wrong? Were some of these better than others? And I think we changed our opinion on a few of those.
Yeah,
and I got to tell you, man, it was a nice weekend too. I watched K-pop Demon Hunters on your recommendation.
Yes,
really fun. K-pop
right?
Demon Hunters was really fun. Sometimes I get bored of movies halfway through and go, I don't even care how this ends. I had a blast with that one. That was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. I loved that movie. It was like you said, it was just fun. Like
Yep.
We need more movies that are just having fun. But yeah, it was great. And I've also got this like affinity toward like demon slaying stuff. I realized after watching that, I'm like, this is like, on top of it just being a really good movie, it's like I love anything like demon slaying, devil slaying, from the OG Doom to Devil May Cry to the ultimate VR demon slaying simulator, Hellsweeper VR, which, by the way, their anniversary, I think, is coming up pretty soon. Might want to keep an eye on that game. Make sure you pick it up if you haven't yet. Could be something. I don't know. Could be something happening. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows? Why would I know anything? I don't know. But no. Ever. But everything is. But yeah, man, that's awesome. What else do you get into?
I want to be a demon that slays humans. Where's that game? That game sounds way more fun. I mean,
no.
Yeah, what else I get? I watched a Superman movie, and I wasn't sure what I wasn't sure how that was going to go down, but because I'd heard mixed things about it, but I had a lot of fun with that. It told a great story, and sometimes I don't know if how to tell a good Superman story. Sometimes I think that a lot of filmmakers and game designers don't know how to tell a good Superman story, because you get the most powerful person, being, whatever, in the world, and it's like, well, it's going to be, instead of just putting him up against a new, more powerful being, it's like, what kind of stories can you tell? It just seems too boring. And I feel like they did a good job. I think they told a really good story that's timely, involving like, we got Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane and Clark Kent all being newspaper reporters at the Daily Planet. And so, talking to have a movie that actually talks about like media literacy and, what to believe and what not to believe in times like this. Fucking fantastic. I thought it was really well done. So it was the first superhero movie I had enjoyed in a while. I got burnt out on superhero movies a long time ago. So this was fun. It felt new and fresh, and kind of made me curious and go, what other superhero movies have I missed out on recently that might be good?
Yeah, I was actually able to finish that one, unlike some of the other ones. I'm not typically a big, what my favorite superhero movies are? Darkman, Batman, like I was gonna say Spawn, but no, not that movie.
Right.
I've always liked the non-comic book, non-goofy, cheesy, which is like what they're supposed to be. Like they're intentionally goofy and cheesy and like upbeat. And I've always liked the kind of like more like anti-heroes kind of thing. But yeah, I could actually finish Superman, which was nice. I couldn't finish Fantastic Four. I couldn't finish Thunderbolts. I couldn't finish most of the other ones because I'm just over it. Like I had fun for the ride, the whole Avengers ride, but then after that, I'm pretty good, and nothing else has really been like that exceptional either.
So, all right, let's get into the show with some tips here. What's up, everybody? Hopefully everyone's having a nice day. Everyone's enjoying their Monday. Kind of quietly keeping an eye out on different news sources because shit could be going down today. We don't know, but maybe we do. Not sure. Brondo with the $5 tip says, does Bulwark Games have a Discord where we can all communicate the bugs we found in Surviving Mars Pioneer? I'm sure they do. I'm sure the better place to do it is the Flat to VR Discord. That is, those guys are communicating with Bulwark constantly and making sure that Bulwark is taking care of the stuff that needs to be taken care of. So you may want to go over to Flat to VR instead of Bulwark.
Also, you can definitely just send everything, any complaints, any bug reports, anything to PSVR2 without parole at gmail.com. You can do that as well. He'll forward them, all of them, every single one. He won't miss a single one.
Yeah, I'll forward it right back to you. Thank God that's not the correct email address. Yeah, it is.
I did that on purpose. You're welcome.
Thank you. It's actually briansucksballs@gmail.com. Yeah, listen, it's unfortunate because Surviving Mars is such a good game and it's so fucking addictive, and I had such a good time with it. That it's so shocking to like watch your stream and Miles' stream and find stuff that like didn't happen to me, and I'm like, oh fuck.
I've been there, man.
What I love, nothing makes me happier than when somebody jumps into a game that I recommended, that they buy a game because of my review, and they go, this is so good. I never would have expected. This just wasn't even on my radar until your review. Thank you so much for recommending it. And that was overall the vibe for like a day. And then the next day, people are like, what's the deal with this bug? How come I can't do this? Is this thing broken? And I'm like, oh, no. So this is absolutely what happens when you patch up until the last minute, though. You know, like it's unfortunate that video games are the way they are, and that, you know, I honestly think that like there should be the final build a week before launch, right? And then like just maybe some last minute tweaks as you have people playing through it. But that's just not the world we live in, and it's really unfortunate.
But it passed Sony certifications specialist, Brian.
Well, good, Firmament. Isn't that all that matters? Yeah, that's all that matters. Anyway, so hit up Flat to VR. I'm sure that they can help you. Bulwark Games is such a small team. I think it's like 5 people that made that game. So I'm sure they don't have time to be addressing, like having some kind of community manager address bugs and blah, 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 while like the team is hard at work trying to fix the known bugs. And my guess is that if you have bugs, they probably know about them. So SB with the 5 quid says, Durasane? Oh, the first one was a question. The second one was a statement. Durasane? I'm assuming he's talking about our upcoming conversation about VR horror. And Durasane does qualify.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but
I mean,
I think it's a good game worth playing. I don't think it would qualify for this list. No,
we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I think that you know, maybe it's like a pre-beginner game where it's like most of the game is fucking not scary in the slightest, and then at the end you go, oh shit, all right, shit's kind of hitting the fan a little bit. All right, it's like preschool, not. That sounds so derogatory. That's not what I meant. I don't mean it's for little babies. Anyway, Kill Artist 1, the Dreamweaver Game Cat with the $10 says, just got out of Gran Turismo 7 with my B-Haptics Pro. So awesome. Logged in 10 hours so far in the suit. No Man's Sky, Hellsweeper, Galaxy Kart, and more. Immersion level through the roof. Got a lot of great feedback for you.
Hell yeah. He's going to help you write that review.
Yeah, right. The accessory video gets closer by the day, AJ. Every single day, we're one day closer to the inevitable launch.
Minutes away. That's pretty cool, though. I know the feeling too. I've been talking to Kill Artist a lot about him using the B-Haptics vest. Kind of giving some game recommendations. I always recommend starting with Epic Roller Coasters and Galaxy Kart. I think those are fantastic. Of course, there's a bunch of other games with native support, but I mean, what a cool, like just high level accessory for video gaming. It is super awesome to have something, you know, this advanced. And the games that have like the headset rumble and the haptics adaptive triggers, when you have that going with your suit rumbling as well. It is just like next level. But yeah, Gran Turismo 7, revving the engine and feeling it like on your chest and stuff. So cool, man. I really, really love that thing. I just try not to stream with it too much because I feel like it's kind of distracting, and a lot of people don't have one, and I don't want them to feel like, like missing something from the experience of watching. But on my own time, I do play the hell out of that. We'll play with it a lot. And yeah, I logged like 15, 20 hours into Epic Roller Coaster. No, when I first got the vest, I logged like 10 hours into Epic Roller Coaster alone, because it just feels so good.
That is great to hear. Great to hear. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait to put it on. I took it out of the box. I'm one step closer. Ben L, the Ghost Cat, the level 3 membership, says, a game where you're a demon killing human sounds like a Venom game. Wasn't that supposed to be a thing? Yeah. I think so. That works.
I don't know if that was ever officially announced. That might have been like leaked.
I went down this fucking rabbit hole recently with Image Comics. I don't know what it was, man. Like something about just Image Comics, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, all this stuff. Just for whatever reason, just like the memories of being 14 or something when this was all going down. It's when I got into comics, when Image became a thing, and and then DC kind of trying to counter it with like the death of Superman and the Batman getting his back broken, all of this stuff. And I just went down this massive rabbit hole on YouTube of being like, hey, like, I don't know the full story of like Image Comics and and how all these different creators came together, and this weekend I learned that Todd McFarlane created Venom. I didn't know that.
Oh,
I had no idea.
I probably heard that before, but I just forgot. But I'll just chalk it up to not knowing.
Like most
that makes sense, though. That makes so much sense. The eyes, like the eyes should have been a dead giveaway, and the shape.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was a good trip down memory lane, AJ. I used to love comic books, and every so often I have a stint where like for a month I'll read like one series, right, and then I'll like drop out, and I won't get back in the comics for like 4 more years. But man, good times.
I would love a Venom VR game. Definitely. I'd like it a lot more than, I'm not saying this just to bash the Quest, but I don't really think that Deadpool game looks that great to me personally. Maybe it will be. I don't know, but I don't think it looks that great, to be honest. But I would sure go for something darker, like a Venom thing. Have all the abilities of your hands like changing into different stuff and grabbing people and eating them or whatever. Sure. That would be pretty sweet. You know that
Rob Liefeld created Deadpool?
No.
I learned that this weekend too.
I should have known by the eyes.
or the fact that he doesn't have feet. What the fuck? Yeah. Good stuff. It was a weird weekend. I watched way too much YouTube, but it was fun. Spooky Yuki with the level 2 membership says Aces of Tinder still coming out on October 28th? Question mark. They need to have a free plane or some DLC for all this confusion. Is surviving bugs fixed? No. Still waiting for a patch on surviving Mars, and yeah, we don't know, man. Like, listen, there's supposed to be a state of play happening soon. If you guys watch PSVR this week, then you know that like traditionally, a state of play is announced today for tomorrow. Like we should be getting an announcement very, very soon. Likely a state of play is happening this week. There's too much stuff that makes sense to be in a state of play though for PSVR2, AJ, and I don't know what I think is correct and what I think is incorrect. I honestly I do think that Secret of the Mimic is getting a release date, but just as much I feel like Aces of Thunder should get an official release date. And other people are saying that Thief VR will get a stealth drop, right? They're going to announce, and it's out right now. But my problem is that traditionally on State of Play, they do 2 PSVR2 games. And one of those games, sometimes both, are games we had never heard of. They are game reveals, right? So getting like a release date announcement for Secret of the Mimic and then a release date announcement for Aces of Thunder, I'm like, those that's wonderful. But those are both games we already know about and we know are coming soon. Not exciting, I think. When you walk away from that, you end up with like a VR game showcase like this past VR game showcase, where all we got was new information on games we already heard about. You always need that exciting announcement, reveal of a new game. It's imperative to have people walk away with a positive excitement, positive impression of your show. So I'm very curious to see what the state of play will have.
Yeah, I would hope for at the most, even if they're just like indie games or something, I think I would hope for just like a minimum of two new games announced that look good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously I love like hybrids and everything, but I'd be down for just some like really nice two big announcements for PSVR2 that of new games. The release date stuff or stealth drop, at least it's kind of like it would be like a ceremonious, like kind of stealth drop or surprise drop, I should say, which is more than what they usually get. So it would be an improvement. But yeah, I mean, just history shows us that they don't typically do when's the last time they did that? Where it's like, it's out today on an official state of play. I don't know. Give me some new announcements. I think FNAF would be a wise decision. Obviously, it's a big IP. It would make a lot of people, especially a lot of FNAF fans out there that have a PS5, maybe consider PSVR2. I think it's would especially with the price drop now, it could help sell. So I think that's a good like strategic one, even if it doesn't resonate with like our entire community. But yeah, give me two new announcements,
dude. On topic. I'm trying to play through FNAF Help Wanted 1 and 2 to have reviews up on the channel for October. Dude, I don't remember. I remember the games being scary, but not like Madison scary. That's where I'm kind of at with Help Wanted 1 and 2 right now. Like I am just on edge so much that like I can barely function. Trying to do these things, knowing that a jump scare is imminent if I screw up. Like it is heart attack inducing. And I know that it's not something that everybody feels. I know that it's different for everybody when it comes to these games. This is very divisive. Some people say, I don't think it's scary at all. And I'm terrified. I'm trying to play through FNAF Help Wanted 1 and having already played through it, I thought that I was kind of prepared for it. And then, Help Wanted 2 with the like all new mini games, I'm even less prepared for it. These games are terrifying, man. These games are terrifying. I will say that one thing I got to say is that I'm happy that it looks like they patched up Help Wanted 2. It's not as clean and not as the resolution and the frame rate aren't quite as good as the PSVR 2 remaster of Help Wanted 1, but it's much better than it was at launch. There's no more like tracking problems and there used to be shimmering everywhere, and they cleaned it up. They did a good job.
Pitch of the single player GameCast says, I never found FNAF even remotely scary, just boring and really fucking annoying.
That's what I'm talking
about. Hey, you are entitled to your opinion and it's all good. I was the exact opposite though. I thought it was the scariest game for me last gen. The second scariest game next to Resident Evil 7. It was like RE7 and then it was FNAF. That game scared the absolute hell out of me. And I also thought it was a really good and fun game. I got the platinum on it. I was in love with it. And I didn't really play Help Wanted 2 though, which I've played maybe 20 minutes of it. So I really need to, maybe that'll be a good one. I'll wait to hear your impression, see if it's any good. And maybe I'll add that to the spooky season stream lineup.
AJ, speaking of spooky season, we got an announcement from Ritchies Plank Experience developer Toast Interactive, where they announced that, long time coming, Nightmare Mode is making its way into the PSVR2 version of Ritchies Plank Experience. Wishlist will open this week.
Finally.
Yep, so wishlists are coming, and Nightmare Mode is making its way to the PSVR2 version. Listen, I'm very confused about Nightmare Mode. Maybe somebody who played it on other platforms can tell me, but it seems like Nightmare Mode was something that was added in later, but also it seems to be referring to two very different things. You seem to know what I'm talking about, so can you tell me what Nightmare Mode is?
Barely, because I actually have a full stream of it when it came out. You're right that it was added later, and I think it was added around spooky season 1 year on PSVR 1, and I remember it being just like an alternate place you could go to, like you know how you go into that elevator where usually you'd go up to the top and that's where you'd like step out on the plank. There was another button for like nightmare or something that you would do, and it would take you through like a sort of like a like haunted house style elevator thing. To my as much as I can remember, I can't remember it very well, but I do remember there being like something about it that I kind of enjoyed.
Well, I'm very curious because, doing a quick Google search says Nightmare Mode in Ritchie's playing experience is an extra scary version of the original game that adds elements like a large spider, crows, and a dentist character to the already frightening plank walk, aiming to increase the intensity and jump scares for players who find the base game too tame. I'm on board because I hate heights, and this sounds like it's going to make heights even worse. So this works for me. And not horror game related at all, but Ritchie's playing experience. No, Sushi Ben just got a massive price drop from $25 down to $12. I'm kind of floored by this. Like, I expected the price to go down a little bit slower. But man, if you like visual novels at all, I would absolutely recommend Sushi Ben. I think it tells a nice story. I think it's fun. This nice little semi-open world town type thing. Walk around and interact with all these characters, and I think it's just a relatively nice, wholesome experience that I had a lot of fun with.
It's definitely the best visual novel experience I've had in VR. But that being said, I still couldn't finish it. And so if you don't like visual novels, stay far away from it, I would say. It's not gamey enough, but it is better than all the other ones I play, like those Dyschronia things that like I had zero interest in.
Yeah. I have to agree. I don't think digital novels work all that well in VR. And I suffered through like 8+ hours of Tokyo Chronos, and I was glad that they tried to add more gameplay elements to things like Dyschronia, but it just wasn't enough for me. I felt like having full locomotion and being able to walk around this town and explore at your leisure was nice, but I'm also really curious to see what they do to this in the future. Right? I feel like when I talked to the developer about my complaints, he was on board. He's like, yeah, I feel the exact same way. Like this is so I'm really curious to see how this game evolves in the future, or if it ends up being like, the stuff that he wants to add that I would like him to add ends up being in like Sushi Ben 2. But for $12, I feel like it's a no-brainer. I think I gave it like a 7.8, 7.9, because it is a lot of reading in VR, but I think it's worth taking the risk if you're not sure at this price. Cool. AJ, let's dive in to the topic of the show. It is indeed. And the topic of the show comes to us from the Viewer Takeover channel on our Discord. So make sure, while you're clicking links in the description below, you're subscribing to AJ at the Underground, PSVR Underground, that you're also joining us over on Discord, where you can leave Viewer Takeover questions like this. And hey, if it's kind of a slow news day, maybe we'll just fucking talk about it all episode like we're about to. Just like El Guapo Game Gato did, writes #Viewer Takeover in our Viewer Takeover channel, says, I have been a VR fan for a while, but I have avoided the horror genre. Blasphemy. With spooky season upon us, I've decided to finally take the plunge. I'm humbly requesting your expertise to build up my horror tolerance gradually. What would you guys recommend for these tiers? He says beginner, with spooky atmosphere, minimal jump scares, something just to get his feet wet. Intermediate, it starts introducing more tension and threats, but where he can still fight back or hide. And then advanced, the truly terrifying stuff. He says he'll work his way up to this. He says the goal is to ramp up the scares without needing therapy afterwards. He says thanks in advance. I have a PSVR2 and PSVR1 hooked up to my PlayStation 5. So we're going to give you kind of a little bit of a broader buying guide, horror guide for the horror noob. And if any of these have issues, I think the only one that we'll talk about that's got issues on PS5 without using like a PS4 and a PSVR1 is Rush of Blood, which just has some weird bugginess. But I think everything else we're going to talk about is totally fine on PSVR2.
Yeah, most of my picks here are actually PSVR2. I missed the part where he said PSVR1 as well, but um I see you've written down a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll just kind of chime in on my 2 cents because here's my goal.
Yeah.
I don't want him to play just any horror game for the sake of it being a horror game. I don't have that many picks, but I really want to help you pick not only, good horror games in a way to build up to it, but also just for them to be really kick-ass horror games as well. So, I have a feeling, don't be surprised, that I'm probably going to disagree with some of the mentions that I hear. And I'll be like, yeah, I wouldn't put that one first, but there's a long, long list of horror games. So,
Sure.
um,
I also want to start off by saying I don't think it's possible to do what he wants to do. Not for me. Like I think becoming desensitized to horror is not something you do over the course of a year. It's not definitely not something you do over the course of a couple weeks or a couple months. I am 45 years old, and I am still terrified by most of the stuff that we're going to talk about. Like it is, I I've been watching horror stuff my entire life. I've been playing horror games my entire life, and I just don't see desensitization as something that most people are going to be able to really do, right?
I think you can. I think you can to some degree if you do it right, kind of like how he's saying, having the beginner, intermediate, hardcore. Um, Now that's not going to help you against the scariest games out there because those are just like designed to be super super scary. And yeah, there's no stopping that I do agree, but I do think that you can prepare gradually and get maybe a little bit more used to like the mechanics. And I think if you have a better understanding of the how the game works, it could make it a lot easier to suffer through.
Sure, sure. I mean, I agree, and I think more than anything, like what's going to happen is you're going to build up your confidence level. Trains on my end,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's less about being less scared by what happens because you've been desensitized. It's more about building up your confidence by, like you said, getting your feet wet and then slowly building that confidence and say, okay, now I can handle what these guys consider intermediate, and then like, oh shit, I was able to handle that. I didn't have a heart attack and die. Maybe
We're gonna teach you how to survive here.
yeah. And so listen, I think this is please let us know like what you guys think of not only our suggestions for this first beginner tier, but also put your own suggestions for what you think beginner tier should be, what games you would recommend. And I think AJ, right off the bat, I think any game where you have like an arsenal of weapons to fight back against whatever scary is, right? And also those games being not focused on horror, right? Being like, oh, it's scary to play these games sometimes, but I've got a bunch of weapons and I can kill whatever comes at me, and that's why I threw a bunch of games that kind of have a similar vibe in there, like let's get this right, like Resident Evil 4 remake, VR, like Survive, like Into the Radius, Alien Rogue Incursion. All of these, I think, have a tinge of horror, right? They're all set in a scary world, but you can. It's not. They're not trying to jump scare you all the time. You have tons of weapons and ammo to fight back. I don't see these as a problem. I think that most people should be able to handle these no problem.
I don't know, man. I think like Alien Rogue Incursion, dude, you're trying to kill this person. Like, okay, look, I've got your list here. I'm gonna have to swap some around because
Yeah.
I don't.
I listen. My list is just I threw it together and was like, for us to talk about it. Nothing is set in stone really.
For your PSVR1 games, I see on the beginner tier, I would say yes to Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion because I think that's pretty fun and charming, and it is kind of spooky. It's spooky.
Spooky.
And then you have this on the intermediate, but I actually think Rush of Blood is a pretty good beginner horror game. I think because it can be scary, but that game was actually more scary later on for me than it was the first time I played it. I felt like it was just more fun and exciting. It's definitely like, a great horror game, but yeah, I think for PSVR 1, I like Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. and Rush of Blood, because you're also not having to do like a whole bunch there as well.
See, this is where I'm going to disagree with you. I do think that Rush of Blood presents a problem for the player, right? Because, and let me preface this by saying Rush of Blood, still to this day, Resident Evil 7 made me stop many times and hit the PlayStation home button and take my headset off and go, I just need to breathe, get back in there, I'll be fine. But Rush of Blood is the only VR game to this day that has ever caused me to rip off my headset because closing my eyes wasn't enough. It was one specific level, but I think, and also on top of that, you are stuck in the roller coaster. It's just like Five Nights at Freddy's. I think my biggest reason I'm scared of these games is because I can't move, right? I am at the games, what am I trying to say?
It's an arcade shooter though. The game's mercy.
I'm at the game's mercy. Thank you. Because I love games where I have full locomotion and I can run away from danger or I can stand my ground and fight back, right? These are things that but taking away that ability from the player, I think is way more scary than you're giving it credit for.
If you approach that game as a fun arcade shooter, that's what it is. It's just an arcade shooter. Like, it's like saying House of the Dead is too scary. Like, it's like, no, it's fun. It's horror themed. Yes, there are, it is, maybe it would be at like the top tier of the beginner list, but I still think it's a great beginner horror game. I know so many people that aren't super able to do horror games, but it's just a shooter. So it's like a light gun shooter.
Listen, when the cart slows down, when you enter a certain room and then and the cart starts slowing down, like, bro, can we speed the fuck up? Right? But no, it knows what it's doing. It's trying to torture you and saying we're gonna go through so slowly. So if anything happens, you're just you're at the mercy of the game.
So that's just for PSVR 1. For PSVR 2, actually and this is all like in order. I only have 2 games here that I would recommend for like beginner. This is in order. First, Arizona Sunshine Remake. I think that is a really fun way to it's fun. It's not super scary, but it's like kind of intense, and again, it's more just like fun shootery, and it's aside from a couple parts here and there, it's like well lit, it's not in the dark. It's not like a really true like horror experience, meant to just like scare the bejesus out of you. It's just a fun zombie shooter. And
well, see, but there are scary moments. You get down to the mines and it's dark and it's like, you're just hearing zombies more than seeing them. Sometimes they come in such, massive droves, like where there's just like, it seems like there's hundreds of them all coming to you at the same time. And it just seems overwhelming. So I think there are like panic moments but this is the same thing that I was talking about when it comes to Survive, when it comes to Into the Radius, when it comes to Alien Rogue Incursion. I even threw the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners in here because I feel like it's because it's all similar to Arizona Sunshine, where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of threats and a lot of danger at every turn, but you're mostly equipped to handle it, right? You've got plenty of weapons, and as long as you're prepared, you're pretty good to go. Yeah.
The other one for PSVR 2, besides Arizona Sunshine Remake, Overdark. It's
interesting,
really good, and it's fun, it's solid, it's very spooky, but it's like, again, to me, the most effective horror elements are like when something is chasing you that you cannot kill. Like Jack from RE7, other games that we'll mention here shortly. When you can't kill something and it's stalking you, that stress is some of the most effective use of like horror that you could possibly have. And Overdark is like, it looks very scary, it's very atmospheric, but it's like, for the most part, there are some parts here and there, but for the most part, I felt like the majority of the game was just, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, it's just like puzzle solving, but it all looks very spooky.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually put Overdark in the next category. I actually said, I think it's a little, it's a little bit more because I'm questioning it now. As I'm starting to make my case, I'm like, okay. I mean, listen, I think it does a good job atmospherically, and maybe it does too good of a job atmospherically for me to put it in the beginner section. And I think you'll see so many of my beginner games do, again, load you to the gills with weapons, and you don't have that. And I feel like you have more feeling of vulnerability in Overdark, because it's not a game where you shoot the enemy. It's a game where you hide from the enemy or stand still when the game tells you to, right? So, but I can see it. I can see it in beginner for sure. What are you meowing about, bud? Everything all right?
Yeah, I just, I don't know if I completed it. I may not have completed it, so I may be missing something there. But from what I played, it was just, it was a very stress-free horror experience.
Old Darth said I would put the seventh guest in beginner. I honestly would put the seventh guest in pre-beginner. I feel like seventh guest is stuff you should be playing already, even if you're not like into horror games, because it's like, I feel like the horror in seventh guest is, I mean, absolutely minimal, unless I'm just misremembering.
No, you're right. And I was thinking the same thing about Zombieland Headshot Fever. It's like, it's just, it's not a horror game really. Like, it's horror themed, but it's not a scary game at all.
Awesome Tatum says Happy Funland would be a good light horror experience. I think that's probably true. I think, but and now that I'm kind of pushing Overdark back into this beginner category, I would say Happy Funland, this is a good place for it as well.
Yeah. Again, I'm trying to go for also good games.
Oh.
No, look, I haven't played Happy Funland since the update. I have heard it's much better. It's also more of like a trippy kind of game, like a dark, twisted, trippy kind of thing, more than like a horror game. So I know I'm a perfectionist, and it's annoying, and it can never be perfect, and yet I still try. But that's just my reasoning behind that.
So I'm also going to throw out, I got a couple more suggestions here for beginner. Listen, I actually put Ocean's Descent from PSVR Worlds in here because, if you got thalassophobia or you're scared of Starks, what the fuck was I trying to say? If you're scared of the ocean, if you're scared of sharks, I mean, it'll definitely trigger some of the stuff going on there. But again, that could also be very much be pre-beginner category. I am going to put in, as the chat is saying, thank you very much for saying this. Alex Blanco says, have we covered Organ Quarter yet? And we have not, but it is on my list. I think Organ Quarter is perfect for this beginner category because it is fucking strange the whole time, right? It's creepy and weird, and you're like just kind of waiting for jump scares that often don't come. And so like it is very much like I would say a tamer version of Silent Hill in VR. And so, yes, I do think, and plus it gives you weapons to fight back with and all of that. So I think this would actually be perfect for a beginner category.
I do agree, like art style and everything wise, like a lot of the enemies kind of, I actually made me laugh when I saw them because it was like, this looks like a monster that was like imagined by like a third grader. But again, I know a lot of people really go to bat for Organ Quarter. I just don't think it's that great of a game from what I played. Like, wow. I have zero interest going back, and really trying to have some good, fun games as well. Which some people really like this game, so I'm not saying it's not, but I just personally just don't.
Yeah, no, I think the map system alone sells it. And unfortunately, the map system was broken when I reviewed it, right, making it virtually unplayable. But as you progress further and further, like now that they fixed the map system, oh, it's so good. It's so good. It like adds like a whole level of responsibility onto the player that doesn't exist in a lot of games. Usually, like the auto map feature is on point. You walk up to a door, you try to open it, it scribbles out the door, says, "Oh, the door's locked." You have to do that on your own map, which I find so much fun. It's like why I like Etrian Odyssey games, right? Because like making me do something that the game, like, right, it's almost like bringing games back to like, early computer days when you were tasked with doing everything before everything became done, everything started being done for you. That's why I like Organ Quarter so much. Plus there are some genuinely scary moments. The whole, was it like a strip joint? Is that what it was? That whole scene was amazing. You have to like look through these holes, like basically glory holes in the wall, and it's like every time I look through the hole, I'm like, what the fuck am I about to see? And it wasn't penises, AJ. It was much, much worse than a penis.
The
All
game
right.
does have butthole TVs, so I can only imagine.
I wasn't
That you
thinking
stick,
butt
by the way,
holes. Interesting.
that you stick your head into to save.
Yeah.
Get credit where credit's due. That's a pretty funny mechanic.
AJ, do you think transference belongs here?
Yeah, sort of. I think I would probably put it in the beginners. There is one jump scare the entire game.
It's rough.
And it's a rough one.
Yep.
It got me really good. There's video proof of me screaming when that happens. But but that being said, like the majority of it is just creepy atmosphere, yeah, and creepy storytelling. It's not actually like a lot of jump scares and tension and intense gameplay, stressful gameplay.
Yeah. I think the fact that they went for realism more than anything else does it for me with transference. Like it makes it, because you really feel like you were in these environments. I mean, I wonder going back to it now, like how much I think I didn't call it photorealistic then, but I said it's pretty damn close. I wonder going back if I would be like, man, what was I thinking, or how much it would affect me now. But transference was great. The fact that it's not on PSVR2 is a goddamn shame. And I'll start writing strongly worded letters to Elijah Wood. That's who it is, right?
I was
Elijah
gonna
Wood?
say, yeah. Spectre.
Spectravision. Yeah.
Spectravision. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of their movies ended up being really good. Really good stuff. Yeah. All right, which I guess brings us up to the intermediate category. Again, El Guapo classifies this as introducing more tension, more threats, and he says, but where I can still fight back or hide. We'll see how many of these that I recommend allow you to fight back or hide. I was just going for pure scares. But what do you got, man? Why don't you kick off the intermediate section?
For intermediate, I'm gonna go. Again, my personal ones are PSVR2. I'll let you help with the PSVR1 ones as well. This is where you start getting into the stuff where you can fight back, like you said. Metro Awakening, to me, pretty scary, especially to those that are, like not really accustomed to horror just yet. This is where I would put Metro Awakening, kind of spice things up a bit. Saints and Sinners, which is a little bit more advanced mechanically, but it's more intense than it is scary. Minus Rampart. Again, a lot of these, maybe they have like one section that's really going to test you, but it's a short, small section compared to the rest of the game.
See, it's interesting because when I think about the scary stuff that's happening in Metro Awakening, it is one segment. Like that, it is literally like to the point where I would absolutely put it in the beginner section, because you just have to struggle through one segment of the game and the rest of it's pretty tame as far as the horror stuff's concerned. So this is another one that would go in the beginner for me. Also, sorry, Null Zero in the chat says RE4 question mark. So I actually have a Resident Evil in every single category, and I forgot to mention, so thanks for bringing this up, that I think Resident Evil 4 Remake belongs in the beginner category. There's just not a lot of scary stuff happening there, other than, the bosses are big and tower over you, but it's like in a very arcadey, non-horror type way. I don't think there's much in Resident Evil 4 that's all that scary, and that goes all the way back to the original release. It's just always been like the least scary Resident Evil. And then 5 came out and then became even less scary. So I would say RE4 is a very, very beginner game for the horror stuff.
I actually have that as an intermediate, because I do think it is
scary.
Well, it's more of like the fear of the unknown. I know, like when you beat the game, you're like, yeah, this is more action adventure.
Yeah.
But I think especially like starting out and dealing with some of the villagers and some of the monsters that you encounter, I do feel like it's still a Resident Evil game. It's still a horror game. It's just less scary than all the other ones. But again, when it involves a lot of decision making, a lot of coordination on your own behalf, skill level that you have to build up a little bit. That's why I kind of put that intermediate pin on it, because it requires more effort. And yeah, but I agree. This is like the least scary Resident Evil, pretty much, that at least from the VR ones. And I'd have it more in the Metro. I'm sorry, yeah, the intermediate, which I would also put. This is where I would probably put. You know what? No, I'm gonna keep to what I have here. I said Saints and Sinners, Metro Awakening. This one might be a little controversial. Phasmophobia with friends. That almost could go in the beginner for me.
Interesting.
But because I know what this game is capable of, I put it in the intermediate, because it is and this is like the top of my intermediate list of like, this is the scariest intermediate. Playing with friends, it's not very scary in my opinion, but yeah, I think it's a lot more fun, especially if you're playing with people that know what they're doing.
Okay, so I had Phasmo in my intermediate category, but I actually like what you did here, because Phasmo with friends, I think, does belong in intermediate. I think it can still be very, very scary. You know, I have, I don't know, 70 hours in Phasmo, something like that. I forget. And I'm still scared when I go into a house with other people. You know, still tense up and you know, especially depending on what difficulty level you have it on. You know, sometimes you don't even have time to get set up and get ready before shit starts hitting the fan. And I like that you separated it into with friends and by yourself, because I think by yourself it's way scarier.
Oh my gosh, it's terrifying.
So yeah, so I think you're right, man. Like, well, I'm gonna save Phasmo solo for the next category.
Yep, that's it's kind of what I did too. Looking at yours here, you've got Chair in the Room, Green Water. I mean, I think that's actually
more of a beginner. I think.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Do you think the persistence is fair? I mean, you and I both spent a lot of time in the persistence, and it has been so long since I've played it. I actually don't remember anymore. I remember first getting in there, the first couple hours being terrified, but then I feel like it's something you acclimate to, right? So does the persistence belong in beginner because of that, or is this actually a perfect intermediate game?
I definitely wouldn't put it in beginner. I would, if it's in intermediate, it'd be at the top of the intermediate. Like, this is one of the scarier intermediate. And it's really only because of the end of deck one in that game. Yeah. Like, the end of deck one is horrifying. But then after that, yeah, it does kind of like, it's scary and it's tense, but it's to me, this is kind of the same level as like an Alien Rogue Incursion. It would either be a very low tier hardcore game or a high tier intermediate game, which, like I said, also goes for Alien Rogue Incursion for me.
Yeah. You said you didn't have a lot of PSVR 1 stuff on the list. I'm going to go to bat for Paranormal Activity: The Lost Soul. I remember that being just crazy scary, and one of those where, like, it didn't seem to matter how long I was in that house for. It seemed like the longer I was there, the more I realized that the developers had the chops to fucking terrify me. I suddenly, when I realized just what they were capable of, usually not knowing what the developers are capable of is the scariest part. It's like, what are they going to do? Are they just going to slam doors? And are they going to, like, jump scare me? What are they going to do? And the more I played it, the more I realized, like, these guys are capable of pretty much anything, right? And over the course of like the 3 or 4 hour game, it ended up being, it was just, it got really, really intense. And you can't fight back, right? And I do feel like sometimes, like, just having to hide being your only option is what, brings it up from beginner to intermediate. It's much scarier not being able to fight back.
Yeah, I really would want to put this one in beginner, I think, but it's a like, again, like a high tier beginner one. I didn't find it that scary. I thought it was super fun, but I also live streamed it, and that can take away the scares sometimes. I live streamed on Halloween, and and it was just, I had an absolute blast. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It'd probably lean more towards beginner for me, but I think it would work in either beginner or intermediate.
Jay the Phobia, rendered game cat, says Paranormal is advanced. Magic says Paranormal Activity was pretty scary, at least mid-tier.
Yeah, I think
Alex,
mid-tier is fair.
Alex Blanco brings up Don't Knock Twice. He says, is it too scary for beginners? He says it's more creepy than scary for me. I actually think I always kind of consider Don't Knock Twice and Paranormal Activity sort of like in the same, like just right next to each other, no matter where they are on any list. Paranormal Activity had more polish to it, less buggy, just better looking overall too. But generally the same boat when it comes to scares, I think.
I thought Don't Knock Twice was way more scary, but it's also like borderline unplayable. I mean, you have to be ready and willing to just restart your game over. It's only like a 3-4 hour game or something, but you have to be prepared that you might have to restart your game. And that's the scariest part of that game, is the bugs, because I actually liked it.
Oh yeah, there were some bugs. I forgot.
But the bugs were so bad. And it was like, I had to basically restart my game like 2 or 3 times to finally get through it. And it was rough.
Let me ask you this. I put Affected the Manor, and it's wonderful having this as a PSVR2 title now with the complete edition. I put that in intermediate, right? Because it's essentially here. I don't know. Is this actually footage? Yeah, I think this is footage. It's essentially, I think haunted houses are terrifying, right? When you go through an actual haunted house in real life, like the attractions, and then here's a developer that said, "Oh, this is all the stuff that you can't do in an actual haunted house. We're going to throw tables at you. We're going to, levitate things. We're going to, just torture you, right? You can barely walk 5 steps without there being a jump scare, without there being something creaking, without a window breaking, without something just jumping out at you. It is exhausting to play. I think this is intermediate, but I don't know. Maybe it's too, traditional haunted house to be this high.
Yeah, I haven't. Even though it's scary, I still would put it in beginner, just because you don't have to do anything. You just walk through it and that's it.
Right.
And it's literally like a haunted house. I've actually watched some people live stream this and scream out loud, which was pretty funny. But yeah, I still, it's scary, but I would still put it in beginner because it's just a haunted house. That's it. You just walk through it.
Twitcher says Affected the Manor, you can't fight back or hide. I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying, is that like sometimes I think that not being able to fight back or hide is like you're just out there and you're susceptible to whatever happens. And for a game that its only intention is to scare you, man, I think they succeeded. So this is very, very interesting. Looking at this footage and remembering how I felt while playing this, and then putting it alongside something like Survive or, Organ Quarter or whatever, I just don't see it. This is, I think, way, way scarier than it has any right being.
Does that bring us to the hardcore list?
Not quite yet. I do want to, again, I want to finish each of these lists with a Resident Evil game, and I think this is perfect for Resident Evil Village. Listen, I know Resident Evil Village tends to lean more into the fantasy more than like the supernatural horror. I mean, it is even the fantastical stuff is supernatural horror, but like when I think of supernatural horror, I think like paranormal stuff. So it actually touches on a few different fears. And then there's the, what's the name of the House of Beneviento? Is that what the doll house is? The scary place? Yeah,
that's the scariest part in the game for sure.
I mean, it is, like we're talking about games that are, we're talking about Affected the Manor, which is only like an hour and a half long or something like that. Or Paranormal Activity, which is only about 3 hours long. We're talking about a game that is pretty much, on the scary side from beginning to end. And then in the middle has an entire couple-hour segment that is way scarier than the other games we talked about. Right? So I think this is the perfect place for Village. Personally, even though the entire game wouldn't be considered like, oh my God, this is tough to get through. Just specific parts.
Again, if you're a scaredy cat, though, I think it's going to be tough. I think it would be very hard. If you're like kind of used to horror games a little bit, maybe if you're built up, if we're doing our job right, then by this point you can handle Resident Evil Village, right, Brian?
I mean, yeah.
You do also have Immortal Legacy on here. I see.
I do, just because I think it's fine to bring up Immortal Legacy as often as possible. And Immortal Legacy, again, like starts off and it's very much an Uncharted game. And then like about an hour and a half, 2 hours in, it becomes, like a spooky game. And so I do think, I think that game eases you into it, right, to the point where it is more of an intermediate type thing than something hardcore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot. It does just like shift at one point.
You come around the corner and like something fucking crazy is happening, and it doesn't really let up from that point on.
That's Immortal Legacy, Metro Awakening, Alien Rogue Incursion are kind of all in the same vicinity for me. I do think Alien Rogue Incursion is the scariest of those three, but yeah, they mix horror and action really well.
Yeah. All right, which brings us to hardcore, which according to
this is where it gets super fun.
Game Gato says El Guapo Game Gato says it's this is the truly terrifying stuff. I'll work my way up to this. And the answer is yes, you will. But even if you work your way up to it, holy crap, this is some rough shit. This is some really really difficult stuff to get through. Even no matter how prepared you are. AJ, would you put Dread Halls in the hardcore category?
Absolutely. Dread Halls has terrified me for years. If you're very like sensitive to sound and audio design, which I am, then yeah. But the thing about Dread Halls is, you buy HeroCade on PSVR. Hopefully it's still there. And you buy HeroCade and there's mini games in it, and then you get Dread Halls in there, and there's like a campaign that you play first, and it's like 4 chapters or something, 4 short chapters, I think 3 or 4. But when Dread Halls becomes very scary is when you unlock the procedurally generated mode or whatever, the randomized mode, random maps, random layout, random enemies. And that's what just tortured me for years. And again, I'm very sensitive to audio design. That game has phenomenal audio design. So that has a lot to do with it. It also looks really good too. But yes, I would definitely put this in. I could see some people maybe putting it intermediate, but I don't know. If you're playing that randomized mode, like it's like definitely it's the bottom of the hardcore tier for me.
Yeah, I would definitely put it at the bottom of the hardcore tier, along with Phasmo Solo. Right?
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. Oh.
I mean, Phasmo Solo. Ooh. That shit's scary, man. I think that's more scary than Dread Halls, personally. Especially if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, but also there's the learning curve of not knowing what you're doing in Dread Halls is, I think, the same, right? Not knowing how to respond to different monsters, or even like knowing what monsters you're going to see. I really do think that there's a correlation here between the two games.
For sure.
Yeah, and like listen, going into Phasmophobia, it is so funny because the game doesn't look great. I mean, it looks good enough, right? It's definitely like an indie horror game. But man, it is so easy to forget that you are in like this virtual world when the lights start flickering, when you start running from ghosts, trying to hide from them. When you hear, I think, a voice on the spirit box, it just, man, it's a lot. It's a lot. And you're always on edge, just not knowing like if a ghost is about to start hunting, if your life is in danger or not. And you have
zero help. Yep.
Yeah, and being the only person in the house, it makes it that much worse because if there's a hunt, like it's coming for you.
Yes.
Yeah. It's rough. It's
super scary. I played on Halloween and last Halloween, and it was terrifying.
What do you think about The Exorcist Legion VR? I know this one's a little bit on the divisive side, but this is where I put this game because it is, again, growing up religious, in the Catholic Church, and they kind of implant this fear of Satan and demons and you get possessed or whatever. That's why this stuff has always been more scary to me because I grew up thinking that stuff was real, and I grew up thinking that my soul is, there's a war going on for my soul every single day. So if I say or do the wrong thing, oh no, it's all over, right? I'd kind of forgotten about a lot of that until I played The Exorcist Legion VR episode 1 for the first time. And I was like, fuck, man, this is bringing up all of those, childhood trauma moments all at once. And so that's why it really works for me. I don't know if that's the same experience you had with it though.
Yeah, this would be at best intermediate for me. It's like it was fun and it was cool, but yeah, it's again, I find the stuff that's like a puzzle or escape room, like I don't find that as scary as like literally having to like defend yourself against like a monster or something. I don't know. Especially being at a disadvantage. I would put this in the intermediate class. It's scary, but it's a puzzle game. So it's like it's a puzzle game with good cinematics, something like that. But you
wouldn't put Madison in this category then. Also very much a puzzle game.
Well, that's a little bit different. Different kind of puzzle game. Right. No, but I didn't think that this was like, I thought it was kind of spooky, but it wasn't too bad.
Alex Blanco says my girlfriend's Catholic, so she always finds satanic horror movies much scarier than me. So that's good. I'm glad to know that my experience is not isolated. I thought I was passing the blame a little bit, Yeah.
But
I guess not.
Going kind of like in order, I did actually have Propagation Paradise Hotel, which despite being, a pretty savvy like veteran when it comes to VR horror games, doesn't matter. This game's so freaking scary, and zombies can pop up at any moment, no matter where they are or whatever. You think they're dead, they're laying around. It's almost like I don't know if they're randomly. Yeah, I think they're random. They randomly can pop up at any time, and there's zombies' bodies all over the hotel, and they can literally pop up at any moment. So, Propagation Paradise Hotel, kind of towards the lower mid area of the hardcore tier, because it was freaking scary. Also great game.
It was. There's the right number of jump scares, the right amount of tension that they build, the right amount of just like straight up, shooting zombies. It's such a good balance, right? I mean, this is like, you can't put this in the same category as Arizona Sunshine, like in any way, shape, or form. They're both zombie shooters, but this one is just, infinitely more polished and infinitely better in every single way, including scares. Just walking down the hallways and stepping over the bodies of zombies is like, it's hard to move forward sometimes because you're like, fuck, like are these guys about to get up and get me? And it's all very claustrophobic because of the hallways.
And the answer is they might. You should be afraid because there's a very good chance they could. Very effective.
So listen, I also put, as we talked about earlier on, I talked about FNAF earlier with Help Wanted 1 and 2, not being able to move and just being absolutely terrified to do anything. Like just paralyzed by fear in these games a little bit. And I'll tell you, AJ, trying to cover, trying to go in just to capture footage has been crazy. Like just absolutely crazy. I don't even understand like what's going on, right? Like I'm paralyzed by fear. I get through the tutorial of Five Nights at Freddy's 1, right? About the most basic thing you can do. And immediately I'm just like, I just turn it off. I just turn it off because I'm like, they don't let you run around. They don't let you run from anything. You have to, it is the buttons for the doors in the lights are just out of reach, right? So if you're trying to play seated or even standing, like you really have to kind of reach for them, right? And so you just feel so vulnerable. And because of that, I mean, both for me, both of these games end up in this category. We're to the point where like I'm trying to play them for October and I can't. That's a bad sign. Like that's really scary.
Yep, I had FNAF Help Wanted 1 in my hardcore tier because again, on PSVR 1 at least, this was the second scariest game to me next to Resident Evil 7. And yeah, man, look, there's going to be some people like Nick and Twitcher that they're not going to find it scary. They're just going to find it boring. If you don't think that like, kind of cartoonish or like, not cartoonish, but like animatronics, like if you don't find that to be scary or the kind of like have the sense of dread of them, like knowing that they're coming for you slowly and you have to like strategically survive. If that doesn't sound scary to you, then yeah, it's just in a pass altogether. But if it is, then this is a must. Help Wanted 1, especially to me with the Curse of the Dreadbear DLC, is an absolute must play. It was so scary and there was so many cool moments in each one of the mini games that made me a fan of the series, because I knew nothing about it other than I was like, oh well, it's really popular with kids or whatever. That's basically all I knew at the time, or younger audiences, whatever. But when I played it, it was absolutely scary. There was a couple parts that were like borderline traumatizing to me. They were that scary.
Good. I'm glad to hear I'm not alone because
No,
that's a rough one. You generally, it's so funny too. How many people think FNAF is a kid's game, right? And a lot of kids grew up playing it, right? So I mean, like maybe they're desensitized, but they also grew up playing it on the flat screen. They also like it's a completely different experience when you're in VR. As always, you guys already know this. I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's rough. It's so much rougher.
The part where the mini game where you're in the basement and you can only see by flashing the Polaroid camera and you see like, Foxy or whoever it is, like slowly getting towards you. That was one of the scariest things ever for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like being in the Silence of the Lambs or some shit.
And let me tell you, I honestly think it's scarier on PSVR2 because they've upped the frame rate and the resolution.
Yes.
Like it looks crystal clear. Like, I mean, it is a shining example of how good things can look on PSVR2 and silky smooth frame rate. Like there's something about it that just makes it feel more realistic. And I don't know, man, like it's going to be tough. When you see those videos come out on Without Parole, me covering Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2, just know what I sacrificed to make those. A little bit of my sanity is going into these videos. I promise you.
Yeah, Twitch says it's mostly the fact that all the jump scares are canned animations, and always preempted by a short fade to black. That's not entirely true. Like if you run out of time, if you like run out of time or something when you're playing the game, yeah, like it's gonna count down, But believe me when I say there was plenty of moments where that shit popped up in my face and I was not expecting it, and it got me really bad. But it's not only that, it's that dreadful feeling when they're stalking you and you're trying to escape and survive. It's that constant tension that also made it very scary, not just the canned, jump scares or whatever.
Dude, I was doing the animatronic repair segment last night. And it's just so crazy when you have to open up Freddy Fazbear's stomach and it's like, and there's a kid's shoe in there that you have to take out. And it's like, man, it's like, they don't even mention why it's there. Right. Like, but Freddy fucking Fazbear killed a child and his shoe was stuck inside. Yeah. Oh, and you got to pull it out like Operation style. Like remember the old board game Operation where you had to pull stuff out of the body without touching the sides or you get shocked. Jesus, it's so terrifying. It's so terrifying. There's no fades. There are no fade to black there. I'll tell you that.
And that's the easy ones too, compared to the rest of the mini games.
Yeah, that's why I started there. I was just like El Guapo Game Gato. I was trying to build up my tolerance, and it did not work very well at all.
So I did actually have Alien Rogue Incursion in this one, but we kind of put that in intermediate, which I think is fine.
I mean, you put it in intermediate. It's still a beginner for me. Any place where you're loaded to the gills and you have ways to fight back. Also, Alien Rogue Incursion, you hear them coming from a mile away, right? You stop at any point and you listen. You hear dunk, 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 dunk. Oh, it's coming down the vent. Here we go.
Dude, I don't know. Last time I played after the update, I was checking the update out, and I thought I was hearing noises, and I was pointing the motion tracker, and I when I turned the corner and it was right there, it surprised the hell out of me. I was like, "Yep, this is fixed," and I immediately shut the game off. So I was like, "This update's great. I'm out."
Awesome.
So yeah, I'll probably definitely be playing that on spooky season as well.
Yeah, I'll be happy to play through again too. So you guys can watch me be brave, quote unquote, as I'm saying that I am right now, which it might not turn out to be true.
Now you really owe us an Alien Rogue Incursion stream. Like I think this needs to happen. I need to see this.
That's fair.
I need to see this, but what you're saying sounds good on paper, but I need to see it executed. And I did have Resident Evil Village here as well, because I did feel like it was the one of the scarier ones, but I'm okay with intermediate, or wherever you put it, intermediate. Yeah.
I mean, wait, hold on. Let me just ask you this. You've got Village in here, but do you also have Resident Evil 7? Biohazard
so that brings us. So I have 2 left. This is all mine are in order of least scariest to most scariest. In my hardcore bracket, I've got Propagation, FNAF Help Wanted, and that leaves me with 2 left, Brian. And the next one is Resident Evil 7, because my gosh, one of the scariest games I have ever played in my life. Especially the first half of the game, maybe first like 60% of the game. Scariest shit ever. And yet I still couldn't put it down. I was so scared the entire time, and I was like, I can't stop playing this. Resident Evil 7 is one of the scariest. Resident Evil 7 in VR, one of the scariest games ever made. I don't care who you are. It is one of the scariest games ever made.
I think Resident Evil 7 in VR is up there with Resident Evil 1 on the original PlayStation 1 as being some of the greatest video game experiences I've ever had. Right?
Same.
Literally going, this is something new. This is something I've always wanted. And then here's a company that actually delivered it to me. With Resident Evil 1 being like, oh, I just love this style of game with the pre-rendered backgrounds and the like mini puzzles, and like, oh, it's actually scary, even though it's a little cheesy. Really, really well done, especially because I was like 14 at the time. It really worked on me. And then on top of that, now we fast forward all these years later in Biohazard, in VR, it was just like, holy shit. Like, the number of people who just couldn't get through it tells you everything you need to know. Right? Opening a door in this game is hard because you just have no idea what's behind it. I stood in hallways so long sometimes just going, come on. Like, just trying to amp myself up to open a fucking door. Fingers crossed that, no one's behind it.
That reminds that I just remember so many streams back in the day. And I remember seeing somebody, shout out Minus, who was literally just standing in the hallway for like, I think an hour on stream, did not move. It was super funny. Yeah, one of the scariest games ever made, one of the greatest horror games ever made. Resident Evil 7 I love so much because it literally revived Resident Evil for me. I was with you when like I wasn't crazy about 4. Like, I liked 4, but I wasn't like really like crazy like everyone else was. I think that's because it was less scary. More people liked it. 5 and 6 fell off a cliff, and then it was like, oh, we're back and like better than ever. It was so scary. But yeah, that's my second to last of the hardcore bracket.
And before you say what your number 1 is, which I think we all know what it is, shout out to everybody in chat who is saying it's so dumb that Resident Evil 7 is not on PSVR2. We agree with you. One of the scariest games of all time. Would have loved to see that game, with the OLED panels in high res with Sense controllers. Would be absolutely incredible on PSVR2. We're right there with you.
I'll settle if they give us RE9. I'll settle.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll be really happy with Resident Evil 9, right? Yeah. Resident Evil 9, I think, will shut me up about AAA games and hybrid games for the next 6 months.
Everybody up
for 6 months, right? Well, listen, we have a low retention rate. We get really comfortable with what we have really fast, and then we need more.
I know we actually buy and play our games. I know, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, listen, like when we had that show that announced Hitman World of Assassination and the Midnight Walk on the same state of play, both coming to PSVR2, like, soon, it was like, what? Like, this is amazing. We can shut up. PSVR2 is not dead. And then, like, literally 3 days later, everyone's like, PSVR2 is dead. Okay. All right.
Yeah. What's new?
Yep.
So what else did you have? Anything else that you had? Doesn't look like it.
No, man, I'm good to go. Obviously, Madison VR is the big one. This is
Madison.
Man, the scientifically scariest scariest game ever made. I did not understand what the hell Perp was talking about when they advertised a game like this, because I was just lost, man. I played a little bit on Switch 1 and been like, yeah, it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. But I was also playing it on, in handheld mode and at a low frame rate. And so it wasn't until I was like inside that world running at 90 frames a second, like, I would say photorealistic, but, maybe as close as we're getting at the moment. Dude, not knowing what to expect, playing through Madison for the first time. I mean, as scary as it still is the second time, the first time when you're just like looking down a pitch black hallway, like, I mean, we're talking like pitch black, using the OLED panels to the fullest extent, and all you have is a Polaroid camera, and you just take the picture to just see, is there anything down the hallway that I should be scared of? Like, it took me twice as long to get through the game the first time because I kept doing that. I was like, I am terrified just to exist here. Amazing experience, and terrifying the entire way. It does not let up ever.
No, it gets worse. You get to like the first through the beginning part, which is like pretty tense and scary, and then you get to where like things actually get what I call the actual beginning of the game, and then from there it just gets fucking worse and worse and worse, pretty much all up until the end. It was horrifying, and it combines everything. It's like endless jump scares, endless tension, stuff stalking you, endless creepy atmosphere, psychological stuff like messing with you. It literally spares nothing. That's probably why it's considered so scary, is because, like, yeah, if you don't like jump scares, too bad. It's the entire game is going to jump scare you. And Brian, you know this to be true. You know that the jump scares are coming, and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. You're like ready for it, and it's still gonna fucking get you.
Well, this is the difference when people talk about deserved jump scares versus undeserved jump scares, right? Versus cheap jump scares. They ramp up the tension. They dial it up so high in this game that, like, you could drop a pencil on the ground and it would scare me, because the tension in my body is that high. Right, my brain is running 1,000 miles per hour. Every little thing is setting off my spidey senses. So when there's actually a jump scare, it's deserved, because they put me in that position where anything is going to scare me, and then they fucking nail it. It's like build, deliver, and they do that constantly. And I love that it's not the same scares from beginning to end. Like an hour in is like, oh my god, this is what we're dealing with now, and then another hour is like, this is what we're dealing with now, and it's like they mix it up where, like, you never get comfortable. And I do think, again, photorealistic, maybe, but it's photorealistic enough where it's really, really convincing to be there.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is this game was inspired by PT, and which probably, if it ever, actually came to fruition like it was supposed to, would probably be the scariest game ever made. And this basically, took heavy inspiration from that, but it delivers like this. Like, Madison is better than 90% of the horror movies I've seen in the last like 10, 20 years as well. Like, it's so, again, the fun part about this list is there's so many games that I appreciate for not just being a good horror game, but just being like a really great game as well, whether it be the mechanics or the, the story, the graphics. There's some really, really rich horror content in VR, on PSVR and PSVR2 that is just like, I understand if some people just can't play them. But, I'm hoping this list helps build people up, kind of like getting your VR legs. Maybe it can help ease you into it more and more. And I can tell you, I was not the biggest fan. I was never been the biggest horror fan in gaming. Like I always loved horror movies growing up. I liked, of course, a couple games like Silent Hill, Resident Evils, a couple different ones, but I was never the biggest like survival horror kind of fan. VR changed that for me. VR made me absolutely love horror, just because of how fun and exciting and scary it is.
Yeah, for sure. Kurt Radke brings up something interesting in the chat. He says, "Is it worth playing Madison with my PSVR 1 in cinematic mode?" He says, "I won't have a PSVR 2 for a while." No. Here's you're gonna ruin it for yourself, Kurt. Because this is so many people played Resident Evil 7 on the flat screen and then they played it in VR and they were like, "I don't get it. I don't understand why everyone's so fucking uptight about this. I don't think it's that scary." It's because you already know it's coming. Once you've experienced the game, you're going to diminish your second playthrough in some way, shape, or form. Although, as we've said, Madison, our second playthrough of Madison was still fucking terrifying. But I wasn't doing the things on my second playthrough, like taking Polaroid photos of dark hallways just for it to light up momentarily and see what's down there. Don't ruin it for yourself. You want to
play some of those other ones. Go play some of the other PSVR 1 games we mentioned. Resident Evil.
Did we not mention Here They Lie? Why didn't we mention Here They Lie in the first category?
No, that got skipped.
What? Here They Lie is the perfect beginner horror game.
No, hell no. It is not perfect for beginners. It is definitely intermediate. It is, because the demo was like one of the first things I ever experienced and in VR, and dude, that shit, you talked about Rush of Blood making you throw off the headset. No, the demo, like walk in the corner and this fucking pig guy jabs me with a needle. I jumped up, I threw the headset off, and I never went back to that demo. And then and I was like, yeah, I'm not touching that shit again. And then what was Dr. Our doctor dude in the community, not an actual doctor in real life, but his name was Dr. something, I think.
Dr. Doom?
Dr. Doom.
BBG
Dr.
Games.
Doom, yeah. He told me to play, I was looking for a horror game. He told me to play Here They Lie. And then there was the sudden, I started playing it, and then I had the sudden realization that, oh shit, this is the game that I played the demo to that I stopped playing. And I was like, what have you done? I was like, no, I don't want to do this. But I ended up loving Here They Lie. And it definitely had a couple parts that were, oh my goodness, so scary. Mostly like twisted and cool, but some very scary parts.
Yeah, I think Twisted and Cool is way more that than scary. It is definitely, don't get me wrong, like I loved how perverted it was, like how crazy it was. Like you go through like a red light district at one point, like you're like, what? This does not seem like something that should be in a game. And there's so many, there should be trigger warnings every 45 minutes or so because it's like they do tackle like different subjects here and there that could be very triggering for certain people. And so I get it. But for me, it was I think it was just like the artistic element of it and the social commentary of the whole thing. It was so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but it was still way too scary to be a beginner horror game.
Yeah, okay. I mean, listen, it has been a little bit since I played it, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I don't remember it being that scary. I thought it was really, really well done with some good scares, but I don't remember it being that scary.
It had a nice release to it, but the tense parts were freaking scary as hell. But yeah, if you're still on PSVR 1, definitely Resident Evil 7, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted, The Persistence, Paranormal Activity, and Dreadhalls, Herocade. Make sure you play those. Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, Transference, would highly, oh, and Here They Lie, of course. You've got plenty of options on PSVR 1. Trust me.
Yeah, and if you just want to play anything horror, like we did try to stick with like the better games that are available. Like we didn't, the number of like horror adventure VR style games that we could have added to this list just to make it like this complete retrospective type thing. We could have done that, but that we didn't want to torture you guys. We're definitely trying to recommend some games that were good. if not great.
Yeah, and Looper mentioned one as well, which I think I saw a couple people mentioning too, but shout out y'all. Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Blair Witch was just a really good game too. So you get, I'd put it in the intermediate. I didn't think it was the scariest thing ever, like a Madison or Resident Evil 7. But it's definitely not just a happy fun time either. It's a pretty spooky game overall. So I would definitely throw that into the medium tier, and was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's way longer than you'd expect too. Has a lot of different environments that you'll explore, and the storytelling I thought was pretty decent too. Like you're just absolutely, it's one of those where you're like, am I losing my mind or is shit really hitting the fan right now? I saw somebody mention in the chat about Intruders Hide and Seek. I saw that more than once. What's up, Tatum? He's the most recent person to mention it. Intruders is good. I honestly,
not scary. It's intense, but it's not scary.
Yeah, I would put Intruders. I think the only problem with Intruders being like something that I would put anywhere above beginner is that it's the NPCs in the game are very, very cartoony, right? It's like, I think they actually did a great job of creating these fairly realistic environments, like a house that feels lived in, and is spooky to sneak through from one place to another. But then you have these NPCs that are kind of like, unless they're silhouetted and in the dark, they don't seem all that scary when you see them with the lights on. So that kind of ruins it a little bit. But not bad for a beginner category. Did we talk about Cosmo Dread? I know we talked about Dread Halls. Did we talk about Cosmo Dread?
No. I'd put it in beginner tier, if at all.
You're putting it in beginner tier because you don't like it, not because it's not scary.
Because of both.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that scary. I don't know if anyone else did, but I don't think it's a very good game. Well, it's not really like the worst game ever. Like it's fine, but it's again, when you have something like last gen, like the persistence that's better, it's kind of hard to like. It's like, why would you really play Cosmo Dread over the persistence? No. Like, and I don't think they're both worth playing. I think you should just play the persistence. But again, I know a lot of people love Cosmo Dread. I'm just a hater. I don't care. You can hate me all you want. It's fine. I'm not here to please everybody. I'm here to give the best opinion.
Listen, the only thing I didn't like about Cosmo Dread was that it was, not a great port over the Quest version, right? It's like they could have utilized the OLED panels better. They could have utilized the adaptive triggers better. You finally get a weapon and you fire it, and it's just like there's nothing happening, right? There's like really no feedback in the controllers. But it's like a $15 game, right? And I think it's so well done that it's kind of easy to overlook some of those things. I really enjoyed it. I would put it maybe in beginner but at the highest level of beginner, like, or the lowest level of intermediate. Because it's just not, to me, it's just not quite as scary as the other ones in intermediate. Yeah,
not even Dread Halls.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, everything was lacking. Graphics, sound design, all the stuff that made Dread Halls scary was lacking in it to me. But again, some people like it. It's fine.
Except that it did the roguelite stuff really, really well. The fact that you're constantly unlocking new things, the fact that you're going to unlock new things in your next run that you weren't going to unlock in this run, the fact that you're finding audio logs where like you're actually learning what happened on the ship before you got there. I think all of that was really well done. That was just almost completely missing in Dread Halls. Dread Halls was a roguelike. This is a roguelite. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, I feel you.
Any other suggestions before we move on? Looper says Afterlife. Afterlife just feels too cheesy to be anything.
Again, we need to make sure we recommend good games as well. I get, we want them to be scary, but it's like, I'm not going to recommend a crap game regardless.
Yeah. Again, I think Afterlife exists for people like me who just want to play everything horror they can get their hands on. If you're not that person, Afterlife doesn't need to exist in your world at all. Like it's scary, a couple hours, but not that scary. And also it's a little on the blurry side. Like what was happening there? Why that should have been razor sharp.
Scott, the PSVR game Cat for Life says Vampire Masquerade Justice. That, if anything,
Scary?
I don't think it really. Yeah, no.
Pre-beginner.
If anything, beginner. Yeah, pre-beginner. I like that pre-beginner tier. You got Vampire.
Seventh Guest.
What's it? Seventh Guest. Yeah, it's almost like Midnight Walk. You know.
Yeah. It just depends on how many baby steps you need to get through this list, right? Do you need do you need a few extra games to work you up to the beginner list even? And if so, that's what the pre-beginner stuff is for.
But thank you for the question and writing in, Game Guapo. And let me tell you, I am so happy to be talking about this subject right now because spooky season is right around the corner. I can't wait to see you stream Alien Rogue Incursion on the hardest difficulty. And it's going to be super fun to watch. Lots of live streams incoming, probably from both of us. So really exciting. Goal. Yeah, that's the goal anyways. No promises, but
Looper mentioned Home Sweet Home a couple times. I would put that in the same category as it unfortunately has this like fucking game breaking bug that you have to switch to the flat screen near the very end, but it's a decently long game. You're gonna play a long time before even ever encountering that bug. And I would put that, I'd say, in the same category as like Paranormal Activity. I would definitely put that in intermediate, but near the high end of it. Home Sweet Home was really scary. Yeah, and like the sound effects were great. The stealth was great. Yep.
I learned what a Prado was. You learned some Thai horror folklore.
Was it Thai? Is that what it was?
I think so.
Yeah. It's been a long time. I remember interviewing those guys. And they sent me a physical version of Home Sweet Home that was wrapped in the red string, the red yarn. That nice. I was like, oh fuck, it's crazy. I don't know if I still have that. I don't keep too much stuff from developers, but that would be one that I'd like to track down and see if I still own. All right, let's get back to the tips, and then we'll get a 4-minute challenge going. We got Game Kato with the Australian 5 says Struth Cobber, love Darkman 2, AJ.
Yeah,
huge Sam Raimi fan here. I interviewed Raimi for an indie magazine for an hour once. I'll throw it up in the Discord. Dude.
Yeah, man. Drop it in my Ask AJ channel. I'd like to see it.
Was it Sam Raimi? I don't think Sam Raimi gets enough credit for Drag Me to Hell. I think Drag Me to Hell is so good.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that as well. Yeah, Evil Dead, of course, is
sure
the cult classic, big one for him. But yeah, Drag Me to Hell was quietly pretty good. And then yeah, Darkman. I love that movie. That's my kind of superhero movie right there.
I'm desperately trying to remember Darkman. I played the NES game, and I don't know if that's my only knowledge of Darkman.
My guess would be it would be very different from the movie.
Probably.
Yeah.
Now you got me wondering which Darkman NES.
I love Darkman. Let's see.
Here. Let's check out World of Long Play's playthrough of Darkman to trigger some memories here. Yeah, this is exactly what I remember it as. Lots of platforming on metal pipes. Thanks, World of Long Plays. Every time I search for a game, it's always World of Long Plays that I end up watching.
Nice.
Let me see what else we got here for tips, you guys. Thank you, Game Kato. That's also very cool that you got to interview Sam Raimi. I love it. Unreal Game Cat with the $2 says Hellsweeper is now teasing new update for its second birthday. I guess this plays into what you were talking about earlier, AJ.
I didn't say anything.
You said pay attention. Shh. And I'm paying attention to this.
Yeah, you should, because they always do some kind of updates. You know, you just never know.
All right, well, pay attention to Hellsweeper for on its second birthday, whenever that might be. Fifth with the Australian $5 tip says, PlayStation Access says they are doing a long live stream Thursday of an event. This might be our State of Play announcement. Maybe State of Play is on Thursday.
Tuesday, that means tomorrow announcement and coming Thursday.
Likely, yeah. Although we have seen them announce Monday for Tuesday before, so maybe seeing announcement Wednesday for Thursday, or also very possibly giving people a little bit more notice and saying Tuesday for Thursday. So everybody's patiently waiting. Apparently, Wolverine is almost a guaranteed bet. We're going to see Wolverine at the show. Which, bro, what's it been, like 6 years since they revealed that like CG trailer?
I'm thinking about like, because they showed that like Marvel roadmap thing, and I'm like, man, like they really should have had all this like before Marvel has kind of died out. But I don't know, who knows? Maybe it'd still be big, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
I feel like they kind of missed the boat here a little bit.
I think you could release a Wolverine game 10 years from now from a first-party Sony studio, and people would still be just as excited for it.
Yeah, Wolverine definitely would be fine. Yeah,
I think Wolverine is evergreen. I think we don't have to worry about that. Oh shit! I'm sorry, I didn't even realize we had more beyond that. Hype Phase with the Canadian $20 tip. Thanks for your generosity, man. He says, "Hi guys, cool topic. My suggestion for PSVR 1, not Resident Evil 7, which was my first. For PSVR 2, I'd say Into the Radius. It's not a horror game, according to the developers, but scratches that itch enough to make you want more." I think this is a great suggestion. I don't think we spent nearly enough time talking about Into the Radius because I kind of grouped it in with like the other kind of actiony, actiony games set in horror environments, like the Walking Dead games, like the Arizona Sunshine. But I do think that the world is scarier in Into the Radius. The enemies are scarier, and the way that you have to interact with everything means you have to be so much more prepared for every gunfight than any other game I've ever played. So yeah, I think you're onto something here. Hype Phase is a very cool introduction point to horror, and the more you play, I think the more comfortable you get in that world. Well, because you become more equipped, because you become more prepared for every battle. It's a good one. I want to play Into the Radius. I just want to start a new game because that'd be really fun, and I'd really like to take my time with it. Right? I think when it came out, it was we were probably playing for review, leading up to embargo, but it's the kind of game where I feel like I could just grind and spend a lot more time than I did the first time around. And Grandpa's Barbecue or Game Cat with the Australian $5 tip. What's up, dude? Says AJ. Oh god, I can sit back on this one. What are the high tier horror games like with the haptic vest on?
So that's something that I really like. I really wish Madison VR had like native support. That one doesn't work too well, to be honest. You didn't have Resident Evil Village in your high tier. I kind of did, but again, I agreed with it being more mid tier. Resident Evil Village, if you use a good audio to haptics profile for like Resident Evil 2, it actually works really well with it. Some of these I haven't played, like I haven't tried, but if you turn off the music, I'm sure they would be pretty effective. But honestly, though, horror games have not worked from what I've tried. Like they require some tweaking with the B-Haptics. So yeah, it's something I need to maybe experiment with more and get back to you. But all I know is Resident Evil or any game that has like a similar game type profile on the B-Haptics app. Like if there's a kart racer custom profile, that would work good for Galaxy Kart, right? Like it's something like that. Resident Evil 2 mod would work good for the Resident Evil Village game because they're similar. Like you do have to turn off the music though. But yeah, I want native support for Madison. That would be amazing.
Peter Trick F with the level 2 membership says, where can I see the final tier list? That sounds like a lot of work and not work I'm willing to put in for a show that I already prepared far too much for. GamesCast Live is definitely supposed to be something we just kind of are able to do on the fly and not think too hard about, because I spend so much time editing PSVR this week and reviews and all that stuff. That this has to be in order to keep it fun. Yeah. So where can you see the final tier list? Make it yourself. Go watch the whole segment over again, and then post it to our Discord, please, so that so that other people can see what the list is. Plus, AJ and I disagreed on a few here and there, so it'd be really difficult to have like a set in stone one.
Yeah.
AJ, it's time for a 4-minute challenge.
Very nice.
This is where AJ picks a game. And it might be a PSVR 1 game, it might be a PSVR 2 game. And you guys out there and us right here, me here and you guys. Oh, I thought, dude, I thought you were putting on sunglasses. And I was like, what is this kid fucking doing right now? Sorry, so my reaction was not appropriate. We got to figure out, we only got 4 minutes, but an infinite number of yes or no questions to ask him about the game in question. So please suggest good questions in the chat that I should ask him. And then based on the answers we get, suggest good games that it might be. AJ, have you picked out a game?
I have.
Excellent. Well, then I'm going to put the clock up on the counter the way that Jeremy likes it and get this thing rolling. On your mark, get Des, go. Did we talk about this game on today's show?
No.
Fuck.
I think I'm making that easy.
Is it a horror
No.
game? Is it a
Of
PSVR
course
2
not.
game?
Yes.
Okay. Is it also on PSVR 1?
No.
Is it on other headsets other than PSVR 2?
Yes.
Okay. Non-exclusive. Is it a first-person shooter? Do you shoot guns?
You do shoot guns.
Okay. Do you shoot other stuff? Other weapons?
There are a couple other weapons, but you're mostly shooting guns.
Okay. Are there puzzles?
No.
No puzzles. Whoa. Let's see. Did it come out this year?
No.
Not Arcane Age. Good guess, Silver Nexus. Are there any third-person elements as Looper?
Technically, but I'm going to say no.
Okay. You do that what you will, bro.
Technically, yes, but I would not. I would focus on first person.
Is it a tower defense game?
No.
Okay. Hopefully that eliminates some stuff that we're working on. Is it a real-time strategy game?
No.
Okay. That eliminates Ghost Signal. Hopefully that helps out. Can you move? Asks Scott. Do you have locomotion options moving around the environment?
Yes.
Okay. Is it full locomotion?
I would say it's limited locomotion.
Okay. Was it a launch title?
Yes.
Was it okay, so definitely would have been a much bigger question if it was something like Demio, right? Where it's like clearly there are third person elements. Although you are a person hovering over. Is this turn based?
No.
Okay, there goes Demio. I don't think about that anymore. It was a launch title, you guys, so that brings it down to about 40 games total. Do you pray in this game?
No.
Okay, it's not Light Brigade. There's no puzzles, but you do shoot guns. Are there any rhythm elements?
No.
Is it a contender for a top 25 list, top 30?
It should be.
Okay. Okay, guys, keep it to launch titles. Keep it to launch titles. Vendetta Forever, Switchback, not launch titles. Operation Wolf, not launch titles. I know that was before we asked.
It's not a top 20 or 30 contender, but it should be.
Oh, okay. It's Runner. Is it made by the 2MD football team?
How did you get that from that?
Because AJ, you're my hetero life man. You're better than you know yourself.
Fuck. Did I give away too much? Damn it.
By saying it should be and then have you always go to bat for Runner every single top 25 debate?
I guess I'm I haven't been here in 2 weeks. I'm a little rusty. I wear my emotions
is it
on my
Runner?
sleeve. Released February 21st, 2023. Should be 22nd. It is the visceral first-person arcade driving combat that embraces the unique visual style of the late 1980s prestige anime.
Accurate.
Trot pixels.
Sorry,
Runner.
What? Say what's
Truant
what's
Pixels. Okay. Truant Pixels runner. I don't know why I always say Truant.
Truant
Pixel. Truant Pixel.
I love it. Great
Truant. I freaking love Runner. Please buy Runner. It's so good.
Yeah, you should. You should. And what was their game, Rogue Flight or something like that they came out for the flat screen after this? Man, I desperately want them to put that in VR. So maybe if we sell more copies of Runner, they'll put Rogue Flight in VR.
Go buy Runner. Go buy Rogue House Sweeper.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I was gonna say don't buy Rogue Flight until they have VR support.
No.
We don't want to send the wrong message.
Yeah, no. I know. I mean, they want to but it's hard out here in the VR market, especially when people don't buy Runner. Not you cats, you're cool, but everyone else, you disappoint me.
I don't know. I'm betting 90% of the cats didn't buy Runner. That's my guess. Here, I'm going to put up a poll while we finish up the show. I'm going to find out. Yeah. I'm going to find out which one of you motherfuckers didn't buy it. We're going to find.
There's no tracking on the thing, and you're lucky there isn't. Yeah, go buy Zombieland too, like Wes says.
Have you bought Runner? Yeah, go buy Cosmodread.
No, you don't have to buy that one.
Yes, you do. And let's see. Start the poll. Have you bought Runner? Let's find out what these motherfuckers are doing for PSVR2 world. All right, man, this is perfect. It's time to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. What an awesome Monday. Always fun celebrating with you guys, or hanging out with you guys, and celebrating PSVR2. But more importantly, the upcoming horror season. Spooky month is just about here. I'm glad we were able to do this ahead of time, because I think by the time spooky month gets here, we're going to be kind of overrun with like other shit happening. That we're not going to have time to do these kind of filler shows. So, but this was a lot of fun. I like doing these so much. So thanks everybody for supporting us. Whether you support us on patreon.com/withoutparole over here by being a member or tipping during the show, it's awesome. Or if you chat during the show and keep us entertained, just listen. We're just happy you're here, part of the community. But even if you sit back and don't say anything, don't say a word, don't say a goddamn word, we know you're out there. We love you just as much. Happy Monday, AJ. Can we cue the goddamn
Happy
cat?
Monday, Brian. Now cue the motherfucking cat, because I want to see you guys on West Day. Maybe sooner, to Virtual Strangers. Wes in the house tonight. My mom. Looper, the Underground Game Cat, thank you so much. Scott, the PSVR Game Cat for Life, says it's X-Ray Day for me. So that's a little spooky. Woo! Colin Loves, thank you so much, my friend. Silver Nexus says take care, be merry, and game on Game Cats. Steve _IRE with the little spooky ghost. Distracted, thank you. Gyson, fist bump to you. Alex Blancos has bought Runner after hearing about it on this show when I first bought my PSVR 2. Bam! Hopefully we didn't let you down. Dan Keeper, Null Zero, thank you so much. Ian Stambridge says, but it is called Runner and there's no running in it. Twitcher, the single player game cat, says I bought Runner. We'll see about that.
What third person elements are there in Runner? Why am I drawing a blank right now?
There's a third person mode where somebody can play with the controller on the TV, and that's why I said technically yes, there's a third person, but no, that's weird.
Okay,
you control the Runner like Voltron or some shit. Game Cat Chicago says I think I guessed it first. We'll see. The proof is there. We can fact check that. Markio, the legendary Platinum Underground Game Cat Elite Name Squad of the House. Thank you so much, my friend. He says I didn't really like this game too much. Boo! Boo you, Markio. I don't care if you're a big supporter of the channel and close friend for several years. Boo! Looper, the Underground Game Cat. Ace Gamer.
I'm just letting you hang yourself. I'm just sitting back and going, yeah, you say whatever you want to. This doesn't I bet this doesn't reflect poorly on me at all.
That's okay. That's okay. Markio and I are like brothers. It's okay. We don't always have to get along. Fifth says, is it good? It's the greatest. Super Galaxy Godstar said, Rez, you're on the right track. Unreal Game Cat, Vendetta Forever. Good guess. Thank you guys so much. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you again very soon.
And just before we say goodbye, 48 votes. And 56% of you have bought it and 44% of you have not. Get on that shit. Or at least during the next sale. Right? You waited this long. Good night, everybody. We love you. What's up? You gonna say something else?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
We love you all. Jesus Christ.